Tony kneaded dough in rhythmic motions, the flour dusting his worn apron, a testament to long hours spent in the cozy, bustling kitchen of Bella Knott's pizzeria. His hands, calloused and deft, moved with the familiarity of a dedicated craftsman, but behind those gentle movements lay a weighty burden. Bills, mounting like the towers of cheese he piled upon his pizzas each night, reminded him relentlessly of his meager earnings, barely enough to scrape through another week in the shadowy recesses of his tiny apartment. Each dollar earned felt like a battle won, but hardly a victory. Despite the financial struggles, Tony radiated warmth. Customers often complimented the way his smile seemed to lift even the darkest days, an ambassador of joy in the disharmonious world outside. He believed fiercely in kindness, finding solace in helping others even when it felt as if he had little to give. If you can lighten someone else's load, it makes your own burden feel lighter. He would often remind himself when grappling with his own weariness, his mind flickering to the mother he'd never had the chance to repay for all the sacrifices she made. One rainy Sunday evening, with clouds rolling in as heavy as his heart, Tony noticed a man standing just outside the restaurant's door, drenched and shivering. He wore a tattered jacket and carried a travel bag worn with the weight of countless journeys. The sight tugged at Tony's chest. After long shifts of mixing, tossing, and baking, he felt all too familiar with the pangs of hunger. As he caught the traveler's eye, a gaze that flickered between gratitude and despair, Tony made an impulsive decision. "Hey, come on in," he called, wiping his flour-dusted hands on the apron before stepping out into the rain. "You look like you could use a meal." The traveler blinked in surprise, reluctance etched on his face, as if he feared accepting charity instead of food. In a moment, fueled by instinct, Tony beckoned him closer, into the haven of warmth, an aroma that was Bella Knott's. "Please, my treat," he insisted gently, and the man, hesitating just for a second longer, finally stepped inside, shaking raindrops from his sleeves like a hesitant bird seeking shelter. As the traveler's eyes roamed over the bustling pizzeria, they lit up when he caught a whiff of the cheesy pizzas bubbling in the oven. Tony set to work immediately, crafting a steaming pepperoni pie that he plated with care, as if each slice held the promise of connection. "It's not gourmet," Tony chuckled, lifting the bright red plate, "but it's made with heart." As the traveler took his first bite, relief washed over his features, a wash and satisfaction rarely found in a hasty meal. Layers of warmth enveloped him with every slice. The atmosphere turned soft as they exchanged stories. Tony learned about the man's journey, about love, loss, and the dreams of becoming a writer that had left him seeking new risk. In turn, the traveler learned of Tony's struggles and dreams, the pizzeria he desired to save, the financial burdens weighing down more than his spirit. Their connection felt like a fleeting spark, each moment illuminating the importance of giving and receiving. "You know," the traveler said after polishing off the last crumb, "this kindness, it means more than you think." He pushed his empty plate away and offered Tony a genuine smile, though it didn't escape Tony's notice that the man hadn't offered payment, only gratitude that hung in the air like a tangible presence. With a heart warmed by simple compassion, Tony waved away the thought. "Just doing what I can." They parted ways after that, the rain easing into a gentle drizzle, promises of resilience lingering over them both. Just days later, as Tony turned the dough once more, the bell above the door chimed brightly. He looked up, startled to see the traveler standing in the entrance again, this time doused with a sheen of determination and confidence that seemed to illuminate the dimmest corners of the pizzeria. The breath caught in Tony's throat, a flicker of recognition igniting joy before the chill of worry dissipated. "Tony," the traveler called, stepping inside. "I have something to share." And there, within the cozy confines of Bella Knott's, an unexpected opportunity began to unfold, echoing the essence of their brief but meaningful encounter. The rain-soaked traveler stepped into the warm embrace of Bella Knott's, a whimsical glint in his eye that reminded Tony of sunlight piercing through clouds. His name was Gabriel, and he carried an air of renewed hope that seemed contagious. "I know this may sound odd," Gabriel began, his voice steady, "but I couldn't get your kindness out of my head. I've been thinking, what if I could help you out?" Tony hesitated, hands still kneading the dough, disbelief flickering across his face. "Help me? What do you mean?" Gabriel leaned forward, animated with enthusiasm. "I run a small freelance writing business. I specialize in creating engaging web content for small businesses like yours. I noticed you don't have a robust online presence. You need that in this era." Tony's brow furrowed in skepticism. "But money's tight. I can't afford to spend on that right now. That's exactly why this is critical, Gabriel insisted. I propose an exchange. I'll set up your website and create some compelling content for it. In return, I'd love to trade my time and your kindness for some pizza, maybe each week when you have your specials going. Your food could be my fuel for creativity. A spark ignited within Tony, fleeting thoughts dancing through his mind like flickering flames. A website could open doors he never imagined, potentially weaving a tapestry of financial stability woven with the threads of his craft. Yet the prospect felt daunting. What if it doesn't work? I can't let you down. Gabriel raised an eyebrow, the stubborn gleam in his gaze unwavering. The only way we can fail is by not trying. You showed me kindness, now I want to return the favor. Your pizzas deserve to be known beyond these walls. Slowly, a smile broke across Tony's face, encouragement blooming within him. All right, let's do it, but no more talk of kindness, I'm just hungry for pizza. They laughed together, easing into a partnership that intertwined their passions and insecurities. Over the next few weeks, as they collaborated, the two men forged a bond stronger than mere business could create. Tony poured every ounce of love he had into his pizzas, while Gabriel infused every word into the site, highlighting the warmth and joy that radiated from the kitchen. As the website came to life, Tony felt a growing sense of potential. With each carefully crafted paragraph that went live, his creativity flourished as he explored new recipes. Meanwhile, traffic began rising, and a trickle of online orders started filtering in. It was as if the entire community started paying attention, delighted by the novelty of discovering local culinary gems. Then came the day of the launch party. It was a warm Friday evening. Gabriel helped Tony decorate the pizzeria with twinkling lights and cheerful banners that called out, "Welcome to Bella Knott's." Friends and neighbors buzzing with excitement filled the small space. As the night unfolded, people munched on slices of pepperoni and margarita, laughter punctuating the air as Gabriel handed out flyers. "Pizza for your soul, stories for your heart," he announced, channeling the charm that came with his past experiences. With the evening drawing to a close, Tony felt the flutter of contentment flow through him like the steam curling from the oven. Just then, a recent customer came up to him, a local business owner named Karen, who had been impressed by the pizza and its newfound internet presence. "I'm so glad I came to your launch. I think I'd like to host a community event here next month." Karen's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Your pizza is delicious, and I believe it brings people together. I'd love to book you for catering and promote it with my network." The world seemed to still for a moment as Tony processed the news. "You want to partner with me?" "Absolutely. I see you're passionate about food, and I believe we can bring some magic back to our town." "Thank you." Tony's heart raced, excitement coursing through his veins. "When do you want to start?" The conversation continued, and as the first round of orders rolled in, Tony felt a sense of fulfillment pulsing through him, lingering warmth that blossomed not merely from culinary achievements, but from kindness transformed into opportunities, one smile, one meal at a time. A few days later, huddled in the kitchen, the atmosphere mostly still except for the soft hum of the ovens and the cheerful sizzle from the frying pans, Tony opened his email. His heart raced as he read a proposal from Karen confirming a community event at Bella Knott's, featuring local artists, musicians, and of course his gourmet pizzas. The prize didn't merely lie within monetary returns, but rippled further. Rent was now manageable, and he could finally catch a few breaths without worrying whether they would make it through another month. As the days turned into weeks, the event gained momentum with each passing moment. Local news outlets began promoting it, and for the first time Tony felt the wheels of something larger in motion. Gratitude swelled in his heart each time a new subscriber registered on the website or another order was placed for delivery. One evening, as the sun was setting and a warm glow enveloped the pizzeria, Tony worked alongside Gabriel, busy prepping for an upcoming Friday. Laughter flitted between them as they joked about the ingredients they would use for a special pizza. "Your success feels bright," Tony Gabriel said, a satisfied smile on his face. "I'd say we've both made a bit of progress." "I couldn't have done it without your help," Tony replied sincerely. "You reminded me to dream again. I've been so caught up in survival that I forgot what it meant to thrive." "That sentiment extends to both of us," Gabriel said, meeting his gaze steadily. "Your kindness found me when I felt lost." Just then, the bell above the door dinged, interrupting the moment. In stepped Sarah, a newcomer to town known for her talent in crafts both beautiful and useful. "Hey, Tony," she called as she neared the counter. I love the website. I'd like to feature your pizza at our next market. Could you do a pop-up? The elation washed over him. It felt like an orchestra crescendoing in a climactic moment. After closing that night, Tony paused to reflect. The little acts of kindness flourished unexpectedly, witnessing the evolution blossoming before him. With each new opportunity, his life, burdened for many years, began shifting course toward abundance. All from one small gesture on a rainy evening. As the community around him thrived and connected through warmth and pizza, Tony finally began to see hope manifest into something tangible. Each compassionate exchange became a stepping stone into a future once deemed uncertain, a future filled with laughter, joy, and a restaurant that felt like home. And as the warmth of those pizzas shared among friends filled both hearts and tables, each slice held the promise that kindness truly was an unbreakable tapestry of transformation, weaving them all together in delicious harmony. The sun bathed Bellinot's pizzeria in a warm, golden light each evening, and as Tony tossed dough high into the air, he couldn't help but feel a sense of joy unfurling within him. The scent of freshly baked pizza mingled with the laughter of customers filling the space, creating an atmosphere that felt more like home than a business. It was a welcome transformation, one he had long dreamt of achieving. As the weeks passed, the community event hosted by Karen buzzed with excitement. Every corner of the pizzeria was buzzing with life. Children giggled over coloring books while parents savored a slice of his pepperoni pie. Locals flowed in and out, sharing stories, laughter, and lives intertwined in a way that made Tony's heart swell. The once daunting weight of bills seemed to lighten with each passing day as the pizzeria thrived in a way he had never anticipated. A few nights before the event, while preparing the kitchen, he noticed Gabriel at the counter, reviewing the logistics of the setup. Their friendship had blossomed alongside the pizzeria, both men finding strength in their collaboration. "Are you ready for this?" Gabriel asked, excitement lighting up his eyes. Tony chuckled lightly. "As ready as I'll ever be. Just hoping I can keep up with the pizza demand." "You've got this. Just remember to breathe and enjoy the moment," Gabriel encouraged. "Yeah," Tony replied, an earnest smile creeping across his face. "I owe all of this to you. I never expected to be so welcomed by the community. I remember that rainy evening when you gave me a warm slice and a feeling of hope," Gabriel said, reminiscing. "It's incredible how one small act of kindness can create a ripple effect. Sometimes I still can't believe I went out in the rain to talk to a stranger," Tony mused, shaking his head. "All those months of worrying, I never would have expected this." "Neither did I," Gabriel's smile widened. "But it just goes to show what can happen when we dare to connect. We can create something beautiful when we work together." Days melted into each other as the event approached, a flurry of activity and excitement constantly weaving through the pizzeria. As Tony prepared, a newfound purpose coursed through him, igniting his creativity. Carefully crafted menus included new specialty pizzas inspired by community suggestions, and he invited local artists to showcase their talents on the walls. The pizzeria became more than just a dining spot. It transformed into a cultural hub where stories, music, and flavors mingled like an inviting embrace. Finally, the night of the event arrived. Twinkling fairy lights adorned the outdoor patio, and the aroma of sauce and cheese danced through the air. Guests began to trickle in, greeted by the vibrant energy that radiated from Bellinot's. Tony and Gabriel stood side by side behind the counter, preparing pizzas at lightning speed. The laughter of children filled the property, blending beautifully with live music performed by local artists. Food flowed as plates piled high with steaming, cheesy pizza made their way to tables coated in bright cloths. Each shared slice told a story, nurturing connections that transcended individual lives. By the time the evening reached its crescendo, the atmosphere buzzed with joy that enveloped everyone like a warm blanket. As Tony watched families come together, friends bonding over their meals, he felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over him. "Look at what you've created," Gabriel turned to him, pride gleaming in his eyes. "You've done an incredible job, Tony." "I couldn't have done it without your support," Tony replied. "I still remember where I was just months ago. I didn't know if this would even still be open." Gabriel smirked. "And now you have a thriving hub of creativity and compassion. You've transformed this place." As the festivities continued, Karen gathered the crowd by the patio for a few words. "Thank you all for joining us to celebrate this fantastic place. Bellinot's is more than just a pizzeria, it's about community," she announced with passion. The love Tony puts into his work resonates through every bite, and the stories shared over these tables enrich us all. Warm applause erupted, the clapping filling Tony's heart with the weight of belief in himself. Surrounded by the cheer, he spotted familiar faces, those from the neighborhood, the artist from down the street, even the man he had once served in the rain. Every smile felt like a testament to the power of kindness. And then there she was. Sarah approached, her arms full of crafts and boughs, a confident glint in her eye. Tony, I wanted to talk to you about collaborating on an event for the holidays, she said, her voice energetic. Your pizza paired with handmade local goods? It will be a hit. Absolutely, Tony blurted, the vision of a seasonal market bursting to life in his mind. As the night unfolded, connections continued expanding, the sense of possibility swirling through the air like the melodies from the musicians. Registration forms flowed in as Karen asked for volunteers, and community members began signing up to decorate for the holiday season. He felt anew the intricate dynamics of generosity, the cycle always spinning, creating room for opportunity. After a long night filled with joy and laughter, the last guest trickled out, and Tony collapsed into a chair, exhaustion wrapping around him with familiar comfort. What an incredible night, he murmured to Gabriel, who joined him, worn but exhilarated. It surpassed everything I hoped for, Gabriel agreed. Do you feel it? How the community has really bloomed, Tony grinned, looking around at the remnants of laughter still echoing in the air. Of course. This was your vision all along. You created a sanctuary for kindness to grow. Tony nodded, contentment washing over him. And it all started with one slice of pizza given from compassion. Gabriel turned, a twinkle in his eye. Your kindness didn't just change your life. It reminds us all that we have the potential to bring hope to others. Sometimes we just need to offer a little warmth. With the strains of laughter fading, and the final guest's smiles lingering like stars against the deepening twilight, Tony sat in a moment of reflection. Everything had changed. Relationships blossomed through acts of grace, financial burdens gave way to a life-filling joy. He was finally moving toward his dream, one pizza at a time. In the days that followed, Tony continued to weave kindness into everything he did. The community event left a trail of connections behind it, a merging of artistry, flavor, and heart. He started a monthly pay what you can night at the pizzeria, encouraging those who were struggling to feel the embrace of a warm meal without worrying about payment. In return, those who had a little extra could contribute, allowing Tony to get back on his feet while promoting inclusivity and compassion. As Bella Knots blossomed, so did Tony. He nurtured himself like the dough he needed every time he added ingredients: love, creativity, kindness. He realized how they resonated within him, stirring his spirit. He learned to trust in vulnerability, allowing others to share their stories, and creating something far more meaningful than the pizza he served. With the warmth of friendship and all its transformations, Tony arrived at a new sense of understanding. Behind every pizzeria or moment shared over a meal lay the unshakable truth that kindness could build bridges instead of walls. It could nurture unity in a world which often felt fractured and alone. Events continued to flourish at Bella Knot, sales increased, and more patrons began filtering through its doors. Tony found himself sighing in relief when managing the bills each month. Suddenly, there was a lightness surrounding his heart. Near the end of the year, as the holiday lights adorned the pizzeria, Tony felt proudly protective of this space that had transformed into more than just a restaurant. People came not only for food but for fellowship. Each slice served brought people closer together, evoking a spirit of togetherness that echoed through the now lively establishment. One chilly evening, with snow dusting the streets outside and laughter echoing from within, Tony stood at the counter watching his customers serving themselves from the communal table of hearty pizzas. Muffled sounds of joyous chatter filled the room, and somewhere in the back, the guitar strummed soft holiday melodies. As he handed a slice to a family he barely recognized, mostly new faces streaming through, built connections from their kindness, he felt a familiar warmth radiate through his chest. They were all enjoying what he had lovingly created from the ground up. The genesis of a new chapter, always at risk. Tony looked up just in time to catch Gabriel entering through the doors, bringing in a swirl of cold air, followed by a hug full of warmth. They exchanged knowing smiles. Both had grown, both had flourished. Yet their bond, sparked from that very first act of kindness, remained steadfast and true. Hey, ready for round two? Gabriel asked playfully, a box filled with local artisan goods dangling from his fingertips. Always, Tony replied, inviting him behind the counter, the embrace of camaraderie enveloping them both. As snow blanketed the world outside, Bella Knots continued to shimmer like a beacon of hope, bringing joy, strength, and the warmth of kindness to every guest that walked through its doors. And standing behind the counter, gazing at his audacious dream finally coming to life, all Tony could feel was gratitude and excitement for what lay ahead, fueled by sparks of connection that could truly change lives one pizza slice at a time.